Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk today about the interplay of courage and fear and hope. And I'm going to direct this to this old chestnut of I really want to change, but, okay? Maybe the but is, but I don't know how. Or maybe the but is, but it's a bit uncomfortable, or whatever it may be. But what I've noticed that seems to come up a great deal in sessions is, but what if it fails? And this one seems to be particularly strong with people who know that they need to change, but are finding it very hard to take any steps at all. So they're kind of stuck in their current way of thinking and feeling. It's not comfortable, but it's not as uncomfortable as the potential of doing something that then makes them lose faith or lose hope in the possibility that they can improve. And so they maintain themselves in the current state because somehow or other, even though it's not very pleasant, it feels safer than the alternative. Okay, so if you relate to that, that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, so if you've got this story running inside of your head which says, I really need to change. I really need to change. But is it too risky to try something new? What if I do something new and it doesn't work? Is the only thing that I'm left hanging from, that thread which is keeping me afloat, is that my hope that I can change? And if I really test it and I make a mistake and it goes wrong, am I condemning myself to my current reality? Am I proving to myself in some way or other that in actual fact there really is something wrong with me? Yeah. Or I really am a shameful individual or whatever it may be. Okay. And so it feels a little bit safer to pretend, to try to change, but to not take any action, to maintain the status quo, to delude yourself or to delude others that you're trying your best, when in actual fact, leave things as they are. And I think it's extremely important if that feels like you to consider this idea that I talk about in quite a few videos in actual fact that typically the brain is a goal-oriented machine, right, or organism. And so if this is the case, if you find yourself maintaining the current way you are, even though you feel as though you really should change, what is the goal? Okay. Because you may be able to discover that in actual fact, it's more important for you to stay where you are for some reason or another than it is to make the change, right? I talk in quite a lot of my videos this idea that it's not just taking actions that indicate you've made a choice. If you take no action at all, or you delude yourself and you kind of play around the edges with this idea of making personal development, or you go and read every book that there is under the sun about a certain issue so that you know a great deal about it, but you don't quite know everything, and so you're not quite knowledgeable enough or you're not quite prepared enough. All of that is also a choice. And it's really, really important to see that whether you make the change or you don't, you are choosing. Okay. And so what is the goal behind it? Because what I'm trying to do with all these videos is to help you get to the point of making the choice without having reached the long night of the dark soul. Okay. Because that's where most people make the change. How do you make a should turn into a must? Well, for most people, it's when they reach a pain point, they reach rock bottom, and it's like, I cannot go any further. I must change. And then they change in an instant, right? Because they cannot go back the way they were, because the pain of being in this long night of the dark souls is so vivid, it's so important that provokes anything else to be done instead. And then you learn from that. Instantly you learn, you get feedback, and then you realize what's going on. You may also at the same time, if you're a little bit strange, a little bit like me, you may actually also feel very, very alive in that moment. And there's something fascinating about this feeling of being uh, scared or in shock or at a complete loss or not knowing where you are, but also feeling very alive with it. That's a very, very strong message to yourself as well. But anyway, so let's try and get you to the point where this becomes more palatable to turn a should into a must without having reached a crisis point, without having reached rock bottom. So let's start with the simple bit, okay? Let's start with your biology, okay? Because it's uncomfortable to step outside your comfort zone by definition. So you're going to need an element of courage to get there. You have no courage at all unless your body is reasonably well rested, reasonably well fed, reasonably fit. Okay, so before you start psychoanalyzing and making all of the steps towards going wherever it is that you want to be, you want your organism to be in a reasonable state. Okay, so number one is sleep well, eat well, exercise well. Having covered those three, get yourself out and relate with other people. A lot of times when we feel that our life isn't quite good enough, that there's stuff that we should be making changes on and we're not, we tend to internalize, we tend to retract in on ourselves, and we tend to reduce that relationship with others, with the rest of the world. If you don't relate with other people, you've kind of lost an external perspective upon your worth and your ability to contribute to the world. And so once you've got your kind of your physiology correct, your sleeping, your eating, your exercise, relate with other people. And it doesn't even matter whether you like or dislike the people that you are relating with. They don't have to be friends. But the point is to do that in order to see the people that you are engaging with as a sort of a proxy for everybody in the world. And so then you can start to see that, yes, indeed, you have something to contribute. So then your self-worth goes up, your strength is stronger, you're well fed. And so then you can start to find ways of making changes. But cut yourself slack, right? The whole reason that the therapy universe, the therapy industry exists is because this is hard, right? It's uncomfortable to step outside your comfort zone. But what you're trying to do in steering your ship in a different direction is to do so in such baby steps that you're prepared to tolerate it. Okay, so the only way that you end up with any feedback at all, the only way that you have any knowledge as to whether or not the things that you are doing are good for you or bad for you is by doing them and noticing what occurs. So you receive some feedback and then you think about that and you decide, okay, so should I continue down that route? Should I shift course or should I retreat? If you don't do anything, well, unfortunately, tomorrow you've still got the same knowledge that you have today. You're no further on. Yeah. So what can you do? And what I'll do in actual fact, in a few minutes, I'll offer you a hypnotic induction to kind of change maybe the story which is running behind your current lack of action, if you are lacking in action. But what are the ways that you can think about this consciously, let's say, in order to help you with this fear of, well, what if I do it and it fails? What do I do then? And one way that it might be helpful is to notice that if there's a story running inside of yourself of I need to change, it is a test, right? There is a reason why these are called testing times, right? It is a challenge. But it's good that you're here. It's good that you are noticing the need to change. You know, the worst thing that would happen is that you're not even aware of it. You know, it's good that it's happening now rather than happening in 10 years' time or whenever it occurs. Okay, imagine all the time that you're saving by doing so. So you'll be better for having gone through this process, is what I'm saying. You will improve, you will develop as an individual by doing so. So when you notice that there's things that you need to do, that you must change in some way or other, but your fear gets in the way, then it can be useful to realize that your fear is directing you to what is important. Okay, it's like a beacon shining on a light on the things which are most important to you. And just remember that when you're not changing, you are choosing just as much as when you are changing, you're choosing. So, with that in mind, let's do a little hypnotic induction. Let's have a bit of fun. So, disclaimer, safety warning straight away. First, please do not listen to this or watch this when operating machinery, when driving a car. Only do so when it's completely safe and appropriate to do so. What's quite important is to feel safe and secure in the place that you are engaging with this process. So if there are people around you, let them know that you want 20 minutes on your own. If there's a lock on the door that you can just close, so you can be reasonably sure you're not going to be disturbed for 20 minutes or so, do so. It'll help you engage with the process more fully. So if you're ready, if you're willing, if you'd actually like to invite yourself into a beautiful state of hypnotic serenity, let's say, where you can discover a deeper connection with yourself, a deeper friendship with yourself, a deeper kindness with yourself, and perhaps emanate that to the rest of the world. If you'd like to do that, then what I would encourage you to do is taking a good deep breath, hold the breath, and let the breath go. Maybe you can already notice a sense of stillness growing in your body. Taking a second, good deep breath, and hold the breath. And let that breath go, allowing that deepening sense of stillness to come into your awareness. Noticing that it's already easier with each breath out to kind of still yourself, still your chest. Taking a third good deep breath. Hold the breath. And as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close. Relax, breathe normally. Maybe you can find yourself imagining breathing in for 4, and breathing out for 8. So your exhale is twice as long as your inhale. Maybe you even want to imagine, as you're doing that, flooding your body with endorphins, flooding your body with a sense of calmness, of stillness, of serenity, of kindness. So that with every breath that you inhale, you can breathe in peace. Nothing to prove, nothing to say, just a moment to be with yourself. And every breath that you exhale, you can breathe out any remaining tension. And as you do so, maybe you can notice the support of the chair or the bed or wherever it is that you're sitting or laying. Maybe there's a part of your body which feels a little different to the rest of your body. Maybe there's a certain sensation that you can bring your attention. Maybe your left elbow feels a little different from your right elbow. And if so, that's absolutely fine. Maybe you can notice the rise and fall of your chest as you're breathing in peace, breathing out any remaining tension. until you can become aware of how calm and still your body is. And while you're noticing what you're noticing, there may be thoughts running through your mind. And if so, that's absolutely fine. Because as you sit there or lay there with your eyes closed, I want to invite your mind to become just as calm and clear and serene as your body. And I don't know if you can imagine what that might feel like. Perhaps you can imagine a sort of sense of heightened awareness, but also a sense of settledness, a sense of relationship, of relating between your mind and your body, all as one. Noticing what you're noticing. Noticing perhaps how different this feels. And with every breath that you exhale, it can become easier and easier and more comfortable. And if there are occasionally a thought or a few thoughts that run across the front of your mind, that's okay. Just let them wander. Let them wander away. And just focus on the stillness, wherever that stillness might be in your body. And as you notice that stillness, wherever it is in your body, let's invite your mind to become just as still. And I wonder if you can imagine what it might feel like when your mind is completely calm, just as calm as your body. Because you can trust yourself. And so I'm going to count from 10 down to 1. And with every number that I count back, I wonder if you can imagine doubling the relaxation in your mind. Noticing that stillness in your body and inviting your mind to become just as still as that. Feeling safe and well and comfortable in the full knowledge that you can open your eyes and come back to the present moment whenever you choose to do so. But that right now in this moment, as I count from 10 down to 9, with every breath that you exhale, you can double the feeling of relaxation in your mind. Perhaps you can even notice that number just evaporating or disappearing or being rubbed off a blackboard or lifting away to be exchanged with the universe into a vast expanse of peace and calm and nothingness on 8. Doubling that sensation of relaxation once again on 8 and 7. Doubling again on 6. Noticing how calm and quiet your mind can become. Perhaps you can become aware of the beating of your heart or the pulse in your wrist. On 4 now, even deeper. On 3, doubling down again. Every exhale sending you even more comfortable. On 2, doubling this feeling of relaxation in your mind and in your body. On 1. And as you arrive at this place of relaxation, of calm, connected simplicity, your mind always knows of a place which is even deeper still. And so I wonder if you can invite yourself to go to 0, perhaps almost seeing that 0 as a portal in your mind, or getting a sense in some way or other, stepping through that 0 into a pure, kind, simple, stable, deliberate, connected essence of you. Perhaps the other side of that portal is your true self. And you carry yourself with a sense of curiosity, of simplicity, of stability, of serenity, of beauty, of kindness, of whatever it is that right now in this moment you most need to feel like you. And as you're there, and I don't know what that might seem like to you, maybe you can imagine yourself in your perfect safe place. Maybe you can imagine yourself on the side of a beautiful mountain. You can feel the grass beneath your fingers and beneath your toes. Maybe you can feel the warmth of the sun. Maybe you can feel the breeze in the air dancing on your cheeks. Maybe you can hear very faint rustling of leaves on a tree, or the chirping of the birds, or a little buzzing of some insect. Or maybe there's a place from your imagination or your memory that comes to mind that just feels wonderfully at ease. Because every time that you engage with this process, it can become easier and easier to find this place of beauty and stillness inside of you. Because it's when you find that sense of inner stability that you discover all of your strength, your core, your courage, and perhaps even your energy. Perhaps the power source of all inside of you, and that essence of you. And so whilst you're there, I wonder if you can think of the person in your life that's most dear to you. And if there's more than one person, then think of more than one person. But I want you to really enjoy this sensation. So whoever that person might be who is most dear to you in the whole world, get a sense of that person in front of you. See them there smiling. See their eyes. Hear their voice. Maybe hear their laughter. And as you see them there, happy, and you feel your love and kindness and happiness for that person, and you hear my voice, and you follow my words, you can imagine that sense of kindness, of love, of that energy in a part of your body. And you can notice that and you can expand that feeling. Expand it out and out and out, almost as if it's like a ball of energy. And as this ball of energy expands and expands and expands, maybe you might be able to identify somewhere a sensation of fear, a sensation of yes, but, a sensation that keeps you where you are. And if you notice that anywhere around you, expand that sense of kindness, expand that sense of love out and out and out and out and out, and send it to those parts of you that you notice that fear. Or perhaps as you think of that, perhaps you notice something outside of you, an individual or an action or an organization that triggers that sense of fear. If so, build this sense of kindness, this sense of love, feeling what you feel for that individual, seeing them smiling, seeing them laughing, building that sense of love and expanding that out to whoever that person might be, to whatever that action, that institution could be, and expanding that love and that kindness out and out beyond your boundary, beyond your immediate awareness, out, stretching out and out and out and out, all the way to the horizon, bathing everything that you're aware of in this sense of kindness, this sense of love. Noticing any energy of fear inside there, bathed in that love. And as you do that, perhaps you can see yourself making small, measurable, meaningful change in your life in ways that are impactful to you, but that are small enough to be okay. And seeing positive results, seeing change, noticing what you notice, and building upon that. And we know that along the way, when people do things new, we make mistakes. Even learning to walk, we make mistakes. And so you can expect that and you can laugh about it because you can take meaningful but very small steps forward at a rate and pace that feels right for you. Knowing that every day that rate and pace will change in accordance with how you feel. Exchanging between this intellectual part of your mind and the feeling part of your mind, connecting your mind and your heart and your body, paying attention to what feels important and taking steps towards meaningful change. And as you just bring that energy field back towards you, bring it back from the horizon, just at the rate and pace that's right for you, only as quickly as you can rebuild all of that energy inside of yourself, bringing a sense of heightened strength, a sense of courage, a sense of self-love, a sense of inner wisdom, perhaps. Bringing that boundary back, bringing that energetic periphery, bringing a silver glow, a golden glow back back towards yourself, compounding and compounding that strength inside of yourself, seeing yourself making decisions, acting in the ways that are most right, most congruous, most passionate for you. And as you notice how easy it is to turn any little elements of fear into love by bathing them in kindness, you notice that you have the ability to change and transform your emotional state, to change your perspective on your own potential, and to expand everything in your awareness beyond its current limitation. And as you do so, I'd like you to focus now once again on that sense of peace inside of you, because a person can always find the peace inside of them if they direct their attention accordingly. And with every breath that you inhale, breathing in peace, and with every breath that you exhale, finding that sense of serenity, of still simplicity that is always within. And so little by little, day by day, a little more, an extra bead on the chain, taking steps towards your higher self, the greater you, making changes and feeling safe and secure, and noticing inside that sense of peace, maybe there is a jewel of hope, maybe there is a tiny bright essence of hope, which will be forever there, because you stepped inside your true self. And as you notice what you notice, you realize what it is like to be in that true state of self. And so when you're ready now, noticing how incredibly connected and simple and calm and wondrous this feels, I'm going to count back up from 0, stepping out, back into your intellectual thinking world, back up to 10, to bring you back up to a state of full and present awareness. On 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, feeling absolutely wonderful now, bringing with you that sense of rejuvenation, of energy, of kindness, of serenity, of simplicity. On 6 now, taking in a good deep breath, swirling around that powerful energy inside of you, that sense of courage, that sense of strength. On 7 now, closer and closer back up to full and present awareness. On 8, it's like fresh spring water is bathing your mind now, whooshing around the center of your head. On 9 now, taking up another good deep breath, opening your eyes, having a good stretch. On 10, and bringing yourself back up to state of full and present awareness, feeling absolutely free. Feeling at one with yourself, perhaps, or whatever it is that feels right for you. And so now, as we conclude this little video, I want you to notice that it's not necessary for me to guide you through this process, that you can do all of that on your own, in your own time, at your own choice, at your own pace, with your own will. And the more you do this, the better at it you become. And so you can use my video whenever you choose to do so. But in actual fact, if you follow the steps, You can talk this way to yourself to the point where you can build your own sense of inner strength, of inner congruence, maybe discovering your sense of passion, of motivation, whatever it is that you need in the moment by finding that sense of stillness inside of you. And so I hope that's a tremendously useful tool for you. And so I go back to how we began, really. If there is this interplay of courage and fear and hope, perhaps you can remember that little jewel, perhaps a light of hope that is eternal inside of yourself. And that when you're making steps outside your comfort zone, there's no possibility to extinguish your hope. All you're doing is learning, it's exploring, it's playing. And you can do that at the rate and pace that is right and safe for you. And then you can check in with yourself and notice where that is leading you. And does that feel right? Does it need a course correct? Does it feel as though you should retreat? All of which are available to you as sources of information. Courageous people never lose their fear. They simply find ways to relativize it or use it and conquer it. And so by engaging with that non-intellectual part of yourself, engaging with your body or your subconscious or your feeling mind or whatever you want to call it, you're permitting an exploration of a far deeper, stronger, more powerful sense of yourself. And so it feels less fragile. It feels more powerful. It feels safer inside your own skin. When you can find that sense of serenity at will, it's a wonderful, wonderful skill. So I hope that's useful. Let's leave it at there. So if that is of interest, maybe you want to check out the other videos. There are a lot that are either hypnotic in nature or that have an induction linked with a particular perspective. And I also have a lot of videos about some kind of existential matter, and then some basic techniques about how to change your perception as a way to take steps or change your reality. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that's useful, and tune in for another episode. Cheers. Bye.